Oh, guys, bit dark. It's quite late. Mate, it's been a long day. Out at 6:30 in the morning. It's currently 8. There's my mum. She's probably making a coffee right now. She has no idea that I'm making this video, and she probably has no idea that she's in the background. So, hello, mum. I've just been grafterooning, mate, and currently back, still not had a shower, my hands are still mucky. And the video that I want to make today is actually a conversation that I had with one of my partners on the job today. Currently working a massive landscaping job about an hour away. Got the diggers out, got the dump trucks out, we're turfing about 1,000 square meters, so it's a big job. Got to prep all the ground, everything, and me and him were chatting. And we were talking about how a man's success, right? And success can be defined in many different ways, and it's different for different people depending on what their idea of success is. But in general terms, a man's success is not so much defined by how much stress he goes through, but how he can overcome and endure that stress, right? And I know I've spoken on videos before about stress isn't how much you've got going on. Stress comes, not from having too much on, but from not doing the things that you know you need to do. So when I talk about stress in this instance, I genuinely mean things that put strain on you. Not so much strain that really just brings you down, but it can bring you down. These things can bring you down. These things can tire you mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, right? We're put through challenges throughout our life. And grafting all day like we've done today, that's physically challenging. But because it's physically challenging, it's also mentally challenging. Because when you're tired physically, it can be very difficult sometimes to put up with certain people mentally or be mentally present. And when you're not mentally present, that can have an effect on your spiritual health. And when all these things aren't in par, then it can have an effect on your financial health. And usually financial health comes before all of this, financial stress, right? You lose a bit of money, mate, you lose money and you're mentally and spiritually tired. And because you've been mentally and spiritually tired and stressed for too long, then you get physically tired and physically stressed and feel the physical effects. And so we're defined as men. Now, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak for a woman, but I'm speaking for a man. I'm speaking for for my partners, for the people that I work with on a day-to-day basis, right? That we're truly defined by how we can endure these things and how we can overcome these things, because we're always going through things in life, always. Whether that be the tiniest problems, like maybe the shop doesn't have the coffee that you want, right? Something so small like that. Or it can be a relationship at home that's really being strained, whether that be a husband, a wife, a child, a parent, a friend, whether that be troubles at work, whether you can't find work, whether you can't pay your bills, whatever it is, right? And as a man, we want to be able to provide, we want to be able to protect. It's our duty, it's our responsibility. And when these things are challenged, when these things come and are faced with hurdles, we as men feel that. And we feel it on a level that women probably will never understand, right? And it's how we can endure those things. And the interesting about it, this is, and I was speaking to this with my partner right today, is that as you grow, like we're seeing our businesses grow, right? As you grow, these challenges and these stresses, they become bigger. These problems become bigger. The financial problems become bigger because you're growing. So as you grow, these things become bigger, right? But because you're growing, they don't seem bigger. So you're going through these bigger problems compared to last year and the year before and the year before, but they don't seem bigger because now you've grown. You've unlocked potential. You've unlocked capabilities within yourself to endure these new, bigger problems, because you've now awakened yourself to a newfound strength, right? And that's the interesting thing. Because when I look back at 5-6 years ago, when I was a bit of a degenerate, right? I mean, I'm only 23. For those of you that don't know, you guys might not know how old I am. I'm 23. I'm 24 in a couple of weeks. And when I was, 17, 18, 19, and I was drinking, and I was smoking, and I wasn't really anywhere near as wise as I was, and I was a lot softer and more fearful and more anxious than I was now. The littlest things would have such a massive effect on my physical, my mental, and my spiritual, my financial, everything, And I would let the smallest things really take a massive hold on me and bring me down and weigh me down and stress me out. But now that I've grown, those little things, man, they're nothing now. They're nothing to me now, right? Nothing. What someone has an opinion of me, it doesn't matter. They don't even, in one ear, out the other. Someone wants to make a judgment about me, not bothered. Someone has a negative thing to say, not bothered. Because now I've learned, I've grown, and I've been able to separate the constructive criticism and the constructive feedback for absolute noise. And it's the noise now that back then I used to allow it to weigh me down, but now I see it for noise and I can just get rid of it. And that goes for a lot of different things as well. A lot of different things. I can say no to going out with my mates because they're all drinking and I don't want to drink. I can say no to that. And it's just these little things, but they add up and they add up and they add up, and sometimes we don't realise that they're adding up until we get faced with a massive problem, right? That would have absolutely killed us off a couple of years ago, but now we just see it as a hurdle. Okay, cool. Let's face this. Let's face this. We're not worried about problems now. We're coming with solutions. Don't come to me with problems. Come to me with solutions. And when you go through life thinking of solutions rather than thinking about the problems, that's when you grow. That is when you grow. Another thing here as well is that if we grow as people, financially, our business grows, but we don't solve and heal ourselves along the way, our problems grow with us. Because we need to heal. We need to take time for ourselves. We need to learn from our mistakes. We need to reflect on our past. We need to analyze what's happened and where it is we currently are in our life. Because if we grow without healing ourselves, our problems grow too. If we grow without facing our problems grow too. And so, one of the biggest lessons I've learned, and today is day 311 of me making a YouTube video every single day for 365 days and seeing where I end up, seeing where God takes me. One of the things that I've learned, and my partners have really taught me this actually in my business, is don't look for the problems in life. Because if you look for the problems in life, trust me, you'll find umpteen. There'll be problems everywhere. If you look for the problems, you won't have a problem finding them, right? You won't have trouble finding them. But when you look for the solutions, the problems seem that little bit smaller. And the more problems you solve, because you're too focused on finding the solutions rather than the problems that you thought were problems, you realise that they weren't actually problems. They never were problems, and now they've just been solved. Because sometimes all you need to do is just not give the problems energy. And when they don't have energy, you realise what your actual problems are. One of my other partners, me and him don't really drink anymore. We don't drink. He's completely quit. I haven't quit, but I just don't drink. Right? I've not said I'm never drinking again, but I don't drink. And it's interesting because me and him were also talking today, and he said, "You know what, Zach? I used to think drinking was my problem. But now that I'm sober, I realise that it's not. It's all these other things. And when I was drinking, I just didn't pay attention to those problems. And that's why they kept growing. But now being sober, I can see that those problems were a very big reality in my life. I just didn't realise. And so with me being sober as well now, and when you really try to be a good person, you realise how bad you are. And being sober makes you realise that the problems that you never paid any attention to are the things that truly you need to pay attention to. And it's just all these things that I'm learning as I grow. It's all these things that I'm learning when I'm building with my mates. It's all these things that I'm learning when I'm out working. It's all these things that I'm learning on this 365-day challenge. And it's currently getting quite dark now. I don't even know if you can see me, but I need a shower. I need to now, but I need to get more work done. But I need to go sit at my desk. I need to put my headphones on. I need to lock in. I need to zone in, and we're back to work tomorrow. But I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna make myself a cup of coffee, have a nice bath, maybe a shower. You know what? I'm gonna treat myself to a bath tonight. And yeah, I hope this video helped in any way, shape, or form. But I'll be back tomorrow with another one. God bless you all. If you're not already subscribed, you know what to do. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. That's that.